So one thing that I am consistently tracking of my applicants are 3 main milestones to their preparation. What that means is where they're at in terms of their preparation, and are they hitting the milestones that are necessary in the appropriate time, considering when they are taking the exam. The first is memorization. There's a misconception that you start memorizing right away. What you want to do with the law is first understand it, connect with it, map out the elements and rules in your own handwriting in a notebook. Make sure it's organized and legible so that you can keep referencing back to it. But your first step of review of law should not be memorization, because you won't remember it, but you will retain it to some degree if you understand it. Memorization should be done, full-blown memorization, about 2.5 weeks before the exam. Now, that doesn't mean as you're reviewing law and understanding it, again, that you're not retaining it. But pure memorization leads to regurgitation on the exam. Again, about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks before the exam you're taking. Number 2, closed book writing. Most applicants are not ready for this step until you've done several other writing steps. These are the fundamental skills I'll be working with you on for those coming into our early prep workshops. So first, you need structure and organization of IRAC. You need to have an approach for the area that you're writing for. That is a very misstep for most applicants' preparation. And only then, once you've already written for that subject and you've gotten some type of experience on how to format for that individual area of law, and it may not even be the entire subject, it could just be the category, then perhaps you're ready for closed book writing. Every applicant has their own speed with this. So if you go into your preparation and you just start writing closed book, you're likely going to be making a lot of mistakes. First, start with open book writing. Make sure you have an approach, some type of scheme for how to attack that area, like negligence or homicide. And then once you've done at least maybe 2 or 3 essays in that categorical area, then you can close the book and rewrite those essays in 1 hour. I always recommend doing that with evidence because it is such a racehorse question. And the logic is if you can finish 30, 35 IRACs within an hour, then you can do that for any subject. You should be ready to write at least 2 to 3 weeks or a month before the exam. So make sure that you are factoring that into your milestones of preparation. And number 3 is performance test timing. So you can start out writing the performance test in maybe 3-4 hours. I always like to have a gauge of trying to have applicants really focus right away on writing in the 90 minutes. But let's just say you're building some skills on case law briefing. Maybe you haven't done that in a while, or maybe that's just a weak spot for you, or organization of the task and the case law, or perhaps it's just getting through the task and not knowing where everything is placed. A lot of applicants kind of have a problem with that. So take your time on the performance test. It is worth the wait of 2 to 3 essays. So you want to make sure that even if you're taking 3 hours initially, the milestone is, and literally, you may not reach your timing until about a week before the exam on the performance test. But there's guidance that has to happen. Most applicants don't know how to do this on their own. You need a skill expert tutor like myself that is going to assess what is taking you the amount of time, the abundance on the performance test, and how you can start cutting that down to get to your 90 minutes. Do not go into the exam without having written at least 2 to 3 performance tests in a strict 90-minute time frame. Good luck.